Hi, I'm Father Anthony Hannon, and this is To Prepare His Way. My apologies to those of you who've been wondering if I was okay. I'm way overdue for a video, so I thought I'd go online tonight just quickly, and I'm going to do my best to do some short videos upcoming that, with particular messages, hopefully ones that will be of help to anyone who watches the videos. So let's just begin in the words that Jesus taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. It's been on my mind to do a live stream, and I've got a number of topics to cover, but I thought I would just entitle this one, The Truth Will Prevail. And this is prompted in a bit because just the other day I received a letter from one of you, and thank you, you know who you are. Just a short note, and along with a donation to In Viam Pacis, which is much appreciated. Much needed, and the timing couldn't have been perfect, just at the end of the month, and it's probably not proper etiquette to go into details to the whole world on YouTube about my financial situation, but I do depend on donations, and your donation was able to cover the mortgage for this for February 1st. So thank you very much. And while I'm on that, there are many, and I'm reticent to start naming names, but you know who you are. There are not that many donors. There's a few regulars, and especially about a month and a half or 2 months ago, when I made an appeal and read kind of the description of the video. There was a handful who came forward, and there's a couple large donations actually, and really appreciate that. So anyway, this note just reminded me of the situation out there, out in the world, and out in the parishes. And I hope that this live stream works okay. I was just looking at my laptop there and saw that it was buffering, so I hope that things go well here. But anyway, I guess, here living for all intents and purposes as a hermit, out here at Vickers Woods, out in the middle of nowhere, some might describe it. Let me just. I have an electric fireplace. It keeps going on and off, so I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it was annoying me. But yeah, just being out here, I'm just very blessed. I don't have a great deal of stress, and I'm just very grateful to God and to my Archbishop for being able to do what I'm doing here. And when my Archbishop, my new Archbishop, a couple years ago, was wondering, what's my ministry about? How's it going? That type of thing. I sent him an email, and the long and the short of it was that I said, well, most of my ministry, most of it is to Catholics who feel rejected or misunderstood by their parish priests and from the bishops in general. And then when I met him in person, he simply thanked me because I realized that everyone is different. Every priest is different and unique, and each of us minister to those who trust us. And there are those who trust me who maybe wouldn't trust other priests, and there are people who trust other priests who wouldn't trust me. So like one priest I said to, who was, upset with the content of my videos here, has a slightly different perspective, theologically, ecclesiastically. And I said, look, I minister to those who you don't, and you minister to those who I don't. So so that's the way it is. But maybe I've forgotten some of you in a way. Not realizing there's so many good priests and good people on the internet to help you. And my videos, I'd like to do them in such a way that they are helpful, offer some practical wisdom or something. And anyway, yeah, I'm sorry. I just forgot that some people are encouraged by my videos, and this person who sent me this note, and I won't read it all, because I don't want to reveal any personal things maybe that might reveal the identity of the person. But Father Anthony Hannon, hello and Happy New Year. I pray all is well with you and your ministry at In Viam Pacis. Your videos have been a real blessing, and I have shared them with others. Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, I mean, I do think that this channel is shadow banned. It doesn't get. I don't think it gets spread unless you share the videos. I don't think it gets shared. Also, I've been listening to Father Stephen from Saint Aidan's Parish, and so I'd mentioned in one video about Father Stephen, who is awake about the things that are going on in the world. He's very devout priest, and he gives weekly homilies, his weekly homilies on YouTube, and so you can search him, and maybe later I'll post a link. But I had posted a link. You can just search Saint Aidan's Parish in Toronto YouTube channel, AIDANS, I believe is what it is, and Father Stephen with a V, and he's he's into the devotional life. I think he's a real compassionate, understanding man, and a good priest. And from time to time, when I'm offering my own mass, sometimes I'll read the readings, and then if no one else is here, I'm like, well, I need to get fed sometimes too, so I'll go to St. Aidan's Parish and see what Father Stephen said for his homily. And I think I'd like to maybe point the viewers from this channel to other people who are not necessarily, other channels that are not necessarily very well known. The very well known ones in the Catholic world, but some of them, those who don't get as much views. But I find I can get something out of them. And with all things, we have to take what is beneficial and leave the rest. I mean, it goes without saying, I don't agree with everything that Father Stephen or Father so and so or this person or that person says. I mean, it goes without saying. But for the most part, I find Father Stephen just excellent. And anyway, the viewer continues in his note to me, we don't get clear teaching like that in our parish. And that's, when I read something like that, that's where it hits me, because I remember when the lockdowns happened, in the very first weekend, when in my home diocese, the parishes were ordered to be closed. And up until that point, whenever I offered Mass here at In Viam Pacis, and I'm here with my guardian angels and all the angels and saints, of course. So I'm never alone at Mass, but in terms of anyone on earth, I'm the only one there. And I could always, I was always kind of imagining the parishioners that I've ministered to over the years, especially the parish that I was at for 10 years, kind of behind me and supporting me in prayer as I approached the Holy of Holies, the Holy Sacrifice, the Mass, and I would offer the Mass ad orientem, and I just, that was how I kind of experienced the communion of the saints on earth as well. And there were other times when there were special intentions that I was offering Mass for, but that first weekend when the churches were ordered to be closed, the parish churches were ordered to be closed. I was just struck by it, and I did a video on it because I didn't expect that reaction that I had, because I realized that everyone in my virtually everyone in my diocese was unable to attend Mass and receive Holy Communion, and on a Sunday. So when this viewer says we don't get clear teaching like that from Father Stephen at St. Aidan's at his parish, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot, and it's really tough. My heart really goes out to the laity who, at any given Mass, you don't even know what to expect. You get used to hopefully some familiarity with some of the individual priests and how they pray. So especially, of course, in what we call the Novus Ordo Mass, the regular Mass, the ordinary form of the Mass, where in most cases the priest is facing the people, and the priests really are trying to give their heart and soul. They're trying to give everything they can, but some priests maybe are a little bit over dramatic, or we all have our idiosyncrasies, which is why I think the ad orientem is so helpful. As a priest, I'm not distracted. I'm not concerned about the expression on my face or anything like that. I can just enter completely into the prayers, and those who are present, they're not distracted by me and maybe some of my little idiosyncrasies or something like that if I'm facing them. So some priests get maybe a little over dramatic or something. Well, dramatic and maybe overly dramatic, and so it must be difficult to enter into prayer, and then you've got the teachings. Now I will give you this perspective that serving in as a priest in a parish, I did that for I guess 13 years, and then still some fill in, some supply ministry here and there, but since I came to In Viam Pacis here to establish this place of retreat, place where individuals can come and get some quiet and rest, where there's a priest available for confession and Mass if they're interested in that, or spiritual direction, pastoral counseling, whatever. But the parish priest, I think it takes a special man to be a parish priest. My calling to the priesthood was never really connected to me to serve in a parish. I just kind of accepted that that's probably what I'm going to be doing. But my call to the priesthood was not oh, I can't wait to be in charge of a parish or to be in parish ministry. I looked forward to it in the sense when I was in the seminary, looking forward to ordination, that I could bring some things, teachings of the church that seemed to be not spoken much to people, and I had ideas of evangelizing those who would come for baptismal preparation or marriage preparation or First Holy Communion or all of that, and just really to find that in any given parish there's any number of factions, and different perspectives about how the liturgy should be prayed, and how the parish should be run, and what the priest should be doing, each day. And quite frankly, I'm not trying to put myself down. I'm just trying to deal with the reality that I'm really not that flexible. I mean, I've changed in some ways. Please God, I've grown. I've learned more things every day. I'm always learning. And as I learned, then I would put those things into practice at the parish level. But for the most part, I found that I would spend a lot of energy trying to help those who don't really want the help. So again, bonus for me, I really only help those who want the help. So so I just kind of forgot that that maybe at any given parish you're not necessarily given the type of food that you're ready for. I'll just put it like that. But see, the problem is, I'm just going to raise this a little bit. I don't want to raise it too much because you'll get the light from the ceiling, but I feel like I'm bending down to get my head in the picture. But yes, the thing is that since in a parish setting, there are parishioners that are at this place in their relationship with God and with the church, and they're living out of the faith. And then there's people that are over here, and then there's people over here, and the parish priest has to try to give his best, but communicate in such a way where those who are listening to him will receive the message. And that's why sometimes you'll hear a homily and it's like, what did that priest just say? Well, he may be speaking to others in the parish, so to speak. I remember when I was in the seminary, I thought, how does a priest become a seminary professor? Go for extra studies and theology or whatever, and then serve out his priesthood in forming men for the priesthood in the seminary, because the homilies in the seminary are tend to be very scholarly, very academic, and I think what happens is a priest gets ordained and he gets assigned to a parish, and then he gets the bishop gets feedback, like, how do you like Father so and so? Oh, we love him. Can't understand a word he says, but we love him. So I think he gets kind of called into the bishop's office or whatever, and is asked if you would like to go out for extra studies, and but anyway, so then the person wrote to me that Father Stephen had mentioned that they'll be hosting a particular program to inform parishioners on the end of life issues, end of life care, and so he goes on with a few more details about how in his parish it's a low priority. And he said that in his diocese where he lives is a breeding ground of confusion, and many have been deceived. That, sadly, many, even practicing Catholics, even like go to Mass on Sunday, think that euthanasia is okay, or they don't seem to have, it's not okay. It's a euphemism, It's kill. Thou shalt not kill. Not take your own life, and not take anyone else's life. We're not animals, and and there's so much, it's because our soul is immortal. What we do in this life will dictate how we spend the rest of eternity. And the church is is teaching on purgatory. It means the purification of the soul, because to be in heaven, to be in the presence of God, means that our souls are completely pure. And there's no sin in heaven. There's no division in heaven among the saints. It doesn't mean the saints lose their individual characteristics, but there's no bickering or fighting over what is true and what is not true, because everyone's soul is purified. There's no sin in heaven. There's no, that's why I said in one video, there's no Protestants in heaven, because there's no one protesting the bride of Christ, the church that Jesus founded. There's no one, but but the thing is, this is our opportunity in this life to grow in holiness by the grace of God, by cooperating with His grace, and because the souls who have died, and they've died friends of God, but they need purifying. They need our help. They need our prayers. They can't help themselves anymore. And there's been various private revelations, even of canonized saints who talk about the suffering in the next life before entering heaven is much worse than any suffering here on earth. So it's very advantageous to us to do our suffering here on earth, to do our penance here on earth, to make reparations, to grow, to pursue the life of perfection, the life of virtue in this life. Right? And so towards our end of life, or any type of suffering, we unite that suffering to the sufferings of Christ. We ask Him to transform it, that it might provide some good for the souls in purgatory, or for our own sanctification. And one of the things, when I've visited various individuals, as they get older and weaker, or sometimes in a hospital bed or something like that, so I say, look, remember when Jesus said, I tell you solemnly, if someone even gives a cup of water to one of these little ones on my account, they will not lose their reward. So I would encourage, often I would encourage you, if you're in this situation, or ever are in this whenever you get into this situation, that anyone who does some sort of kind deed for you, that you say a little prayer. Maybe because we like to help others, we like to be hospitable. We it's more blessed to give than to receive, and we kind of pride ourselves on being kind to others as Christians, and then sometimes we get to a place, maybe through sickness or injury or old age, that we can't do what we used to be able to do, and maybe we're feeling down on ourselves, and we're feeling like we're useless or something. And maybe that's a temptation that comes when someone is approaching their end of life, which is such a terrible, terrible sin. These immoral laws in Canada regarding medical assisted, dying. No, this is absolutely sinful. It's terrible. But the temptation might be that they're a burden. I'm a burden on others. They're helping me. I want to help them. And I feel useless because maybe I had so much of my identity was wrapped up in helping others. And now others are coming and helping me, and I'm not comfortable with it. Well, okay. Well, remembering when Jesus said, even if someone gives a cup of water, one of the little ones on my account, they will not lose a reward. If someone comes into your hospital room and they sweep up, or the nurse that comes, the doctor that comes, the person who brings your food, your medication, whatever it is, or someone visits you, or someone gives you a phone call, I say, look, say a little prayer to the Lord. Say something along the lines of, Lord, let what they just did for me, let it be counted as though they did it for you. And even if they're not aware of it. And what a great surprise if when they die and they meet their Jesus and receive their particular judgment, and maybe they're trembling in their boots a little bit, so to speak, because they weren't that faithful, and maybe there's be a huge wake up when they meet Jesus face to face, or hear his voice or whatever. Maybe they won't be able to see him in all his glory because of their impurities. But wouldn't that be amazing if, like in another place, Jesus says, "Come into my kingdom, good and faithful servant. When I was sick and weak, you visited me, and you gave me water. You gave me when I was thirsty. You gave me something to eat when I was hungry." And they will be just like Jesus said. They will say, "When did we do this?" And Jesus will reply, he said in the Gospels, "Whenever you did it to the least of my brethren, you did it for me." So when you did it for, so that prayer that you're saying, you're saving souls, So prematurely ending one's life, and I'm not talking about refusing, declining treatment, that is extending life, but I'm talking about, if anyone deliberately accelerates their death, that's a terrible, terrible sin. And you're missing out on those opportunities, and opportunities also for penance, reparation, right? To say, Lord, I've sinned many times, and, purify me through this suffering, and getting ready kind of for purgatory, and, not to mention all sorts of things that can happen in terms of healed relationships and stuff like that. My own mom and dad were reconciled when my mom was the last few weeks of my mom's life. And my poor mom, I was visiting her in the hospital, and she was legally blind. She probably, I don't know if she could see light or whatever, but I guess my dad's voice and my voice sounded a little bit similar. And so she started talking to me as though, I was my dad. And I said, "No, mom, no, I'll get you. You want to see Dad?" And I just called my dad up and said, Dad, can you come and visit her? And he visited her, and my dad told me later how everything worked out. So so many good things can happen, towards the end of our life that maybe we miss. So anyway, because of this note from this person, that's the back of the piece of paper. I was like, yeah, I have to get online. I have to offer what I have to offer. So in the big picture of things, so the person said, "Keep spreading the truth, Father Anthony. We are hungry for the truth." Yeah. Just want to see if I can pull up the live chat here, because for some reason, come, I can't see it here. Is there live chat or not? Chat is disabled. Oh, I don't want to do that. Let's enable the chat. I'm so sorry about that. Let's see. Show more. Allow. Choose if and how. Show how many like viewers. Sorry, please bear with me as I'm just going through the settings here. I know if some of you watch the live stream, you like to comment back and forth. What happens if I press this? Live chat? Yes. Yes. Save. Okay, let's see. Let's see if live chat is up now. I think it's going to come up, but maybe wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. There we go. There we go. Okay. Hey, Kat. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Very good. Very good. Okay. So what do I want to talk about? I can't be on too much longer, but and maybe this is something I need to do in a video. That'll be shorter for you to watch, but longer for me to do, to process and upload. Because many of you are awake and you're following what's going on in the world. You're astute in terms of the geopolitical scene and of what's going on in your own country and your own state or province. There's many things that I could kind of put my 2 cents worth in. Recently, of course, there was the big meeting in Switzerland with the WEF and all of that stuff. And by the way, on the YouTube channel To Prepare His Way, if you're, I don't know if it's only for if you're subscribed, but you probably don't get a notification unless you click that notification bell and then click all notifications. And I do notice that YouTube starts deleting subscribers if I don't do a video. I was up to like 5127 or something like that, like my last video, and then every day they lose a few, and I just can't imagine that the viewers are going on and unsubscribing to this extent. But it's down to like 5092 or something like that, or 5092, yeah. But anyway, there's a tab that's called Community, and I have been over the last month posting a few videos here or there that are I find are encouraging or something like that. And one of the ones that I did was a clip from December of 2021. I think was a kind of a horse race, and it's the cold for the it's just a cold for the win. I think I entitled that, and I provided a link for that. And some of you left comments you had not seen it, and then of course I left the announcement of Gonzalo Lira's death. God have mercy on his soul. And many of you commented in that. And yeah, so the and one of the most recent ones was because those of you following that meeting at Davos, reports on it, that one of their themes was rebuilding trust. And then someone had left a, let me see if I can pull it up here. Let's see. Can I get my channel here? Nope. View channel. Okay. There we go. But I just want to give credit where credit is due. See if it comes up here. And but someone said, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? So this is the YouTube channel is called Truth Stream Media. What does the phrase rebuilding trust, what the phrase rebuilding trust probably means when the arrogant social engineers use the term resist. And so because when they're saying rebuild trust, it's like, no, you never had our trust. I mean, maybe like, no, we're not trusting you. We don't trust these globalists. We don't trust them at all. How are they going to rebuild our trust? No, you're not getting it back. You're not, no, you never had it. You're not getting our trust. But then this person is saying, they might be thinking of the word trust like trustee, like they own the world and they're rebuilding their trust, like their trust fund, things like that. So there are many scary things, and many, some of you have reached out to me. They've reached out to me because it's concerning, and even priest friends who reach out to me, and because they know they can talk to me about these things. And how do I deal with that, and what positive things might I be able to convey to you that might be a source of to alleviate anxiety? Or what are we going to do? And then we look at the mess in the church, of course. I mean, I don't even want to go there. Like, where do I begin in terms of the mess in the church? The church on earth, of course. I'm not talking about the spotless bride of Christ, but I mean the individual members of the church, right? So here's the thing. First, regarding the social engineers, because I would say it's safe to say that the vast majority, if not all of you, have great faith in God. You believe in God, and I assure you of His great love for you. And I love that line in the Psalms where it says, addressing God, with the sincere you are sincere, with the cunning you outdo in cunning. And God is all knowing. He is all powerful. He knows what's going on. He gave us free will. So, I don't like to try to get into too much of these distinctions about his permissive will and all of that, because the fact of the matter is He permits everything. He does not interfere with our free will. But that doesn't make it His will. Okay? And sometimes His will, I think, is for us to resist, to stand up and stop being wimps, and to speak up, and mea culpa, I mean, as I say that, I know my mental reservations. I know my mental reservations that, that I'm saying I'm not going to speak about that. Partly because of this platform, the YouTube platform. But, there's other reasons, and I a priest friend said to me, sometimes we call our fears prudence, and call someone else's courage imprudence. But I am trying to be prudent, so that I can keep doing what I'm doing. But anyway, I don't, the quietism is a sin, right? Quietism, it's a heresy. It means like you just let go, let God do everything. No, there's a saying in the 12-step groups, let go and let God, and that is true, and that is so helpful. There are things beyond our control. But there are other things sometimes. Like I did that video during lockdowns called King of the Hill. If you haven't watched that, maybe search the videos King of the Hill. Entrepreneur Prepares Way YouTube channel, and there might have been another one, all around the same time, an analogy, and I made up this analogy of a little boy who's getting picked on, and the kid, we're watching this on a movie type thing, nice kid, and he's getting picked on, and the kid's trying to figure out why are they picking on me, and then he, for some reason, he gets this idea, my dad is doing this. My dad is somehow doing this. And that's my response to those who said that some of the things that that the government lockdowns and all this, these terrible evils that we're experiencing, was a chastisement from God. That's my argument, saying no. That's like that boy saying my dad is, paying it or something, is causing this bully to beat me up. And then the kid comes to his senses and he says, "Oh no, that's crazy." But well, my dad could intervene and he doesn't. So it's still my dad is doing this. And it's like, stop it. That's not my relationship with God. That's not the loving Father that I am in a relationship with. But everyone is where they're at. And I'm not saying that's a different perspective. But I'm saying, okay, kid, let's say the dad is aware that you're being picked on, but he's not. He could intervene. Sure, he could intervene, but he's not. Well, why? Well, maybe because he wants the boy to stand up for himself and not be a sissy. And so that was kind of my message during that time, for people to learn how to say this one syllable word with two letters, no. N-O. We need to. That's a good thing to learn, and to not cooperate with lies. But anyway, so given our present situation, yes, the social engineers, the those who live in ivory towers, who've had things who are very, they have a lot of things, and it's not just their more money than literally anyone could use, but they have power and influence and pull the strings, and they want to hang on to their power, and they don't identify with you or me. They don't identify with the average person. They're in a world of their own. So they have this idea. I guess they actually believe that the earth cannot sustain human population growth, which is simply not true. Of course, there's lots, so much. Maybe they believe it. Maybe they believe that, some of them believe that it's fallen upon them to fix the problem. To cull the population, and to but like I did on another video, I said, talked about mixed motives, and we human beings, we have this great capacity for self-deception, selfish rationalization. So I don't know. I'm not judging their soul. I don't know what's going on, but they are going to meet the judge. They're going to meet Jesus, and it's not looking good for them, objectively speaking. Okay, and but here's the thing. They are not God. They are not God. And even with AI, like when I was doing my undergrad at the University of Ottawa in the late 1980s and early 1990s, I did my undergrad concentration philosophy, and it was all in preparation for the seminary and stuff like that. But the thing is this, that's why I went to get a university education. There was a course, philosophical anthropology, right? The study of human nature. What does it mean to be man? And so I signed up for it, and then I go to the first class, and I find out that the whole course, all 13 weeks of this semester course, was going to be dealing with artificial intelligence. So this was late 1980s, early 1990s. This was probably 1989 or something when I signed up for that first. So I dropped out of the class, took something else, and waited for something else. I wanted to delve deeply into various thinkers' ideas of what it means to be man, how this relates, and to and how this figures in with how we as Catholics understand reality, and so this we're going back over 30 years AI, and then I went to sign. Then it was offered like the next year, and a different professor, and I look at the syllabus, same thing. The whole thing is on artificial intelligence. And then the next year it came up again, different professor. And although they were going to be looking at AI, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I need to learn about this anyway. But the beginning of the syllabus, the beginning lectures were on, traditional views of what it means to be human. And I'd seen some of that in studying the ancient philosophers when I did a survey course on the history of Western civilization. So the Greek philosophers, pre-Socratic and then Socratic and Plato and Aristotle. But it turns out it was just actually the first lecture, or maybe the first two lectures. That was it. The whole rest of the course was on artificial intelligence. Now, the professor there, he was a proud atheist. He said he didn't believe in God, and he had all these smart aleck things. And he had a thought experiment at the beginning, which I didn't consent with my will to this. But he said, imagine. Well, maybe I shouldn't even bring it through. But bottom line is, he actually thinks that all human beings are ultimately a material brain that is more complex than other brains. That's it. That's all he thought. And I remember, I think might have been on a midterm exam, or it might have been on the final exam, but there was a question: how would your understanding of what it means to be human change if intelligent life was found, in outer space? And my answer was, well, it wouldn't change at all, because I already believe in intelligent beings that are not human, and they don't even have bodies, because I wanted to rub it in a little bit with him. Angels, of course, right? They have will and intellect. And but anyhow, this is the idea. And then there's the top up and bottom down artificial intelligence. So different ways of trying. So they believe that if they build robots, or the chess games, that learning chess games and whatnot, as these fields develop, then, so obviously in the computer realm and then the robotics, that they're going to learn more about what it means to be, they're going to get closer to what it means to be human. So they've thrown out, the traditional concepts of what it means to be human, and this is the new frontier. So here we find ourselves today. And so I'm sure you're all concerned about, digital ID, social credit, CBDCs, and whatnot. And so my first message is, repeating, they're just human. They're not God. And my dear mom, God rest her soul, she was living in subsidized housing, city municipal taxpayer funded subsidized housing. And when she first applied, and she received an apartment. She was granted an apartment. She had to pay rent, but it was a lower rent. It was a high-rise apartment dedicated to seniors only senior citizens. Well, the eggheads, social engineers at the city, coming fresh out of university or whatever, they decided that it would be much better if there was mixed communities. So they see the problem in society, see as they try to solve this, is that we've got criminals, we've got young people, we've got broken marriages, so young people growing up fatherless or motherless, as the case may be, and there's a lot of crime, a lot of drugs, a lot of problems, and they figured, look, if that apartment building where my mom was a mixed community, mixed ages, then the young could help the elderly, help them with their groceries and stuff like this, and the older they would get to know them, and they would mentor them and stuff like that. No, that didn't happen. So in reality, that's not what happened. In reality, what happened was that building got full of drug users and prostitutes and crime and everything else, and it was terrible. And after about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, something like that, it might have been 10 years, the city comes back and says, well, yeah, okay, looks like there's a lot of you asking for a dedicated senior home. There's a lot of problems down there. I mean, the fire alarm went off every single day. Early on in that, a bomb went off in an apartment downstairs. A crazy woman, lit a bomb off in her apartment. It's like, what? And again, this was 30 years ago. And so the city, they realized, I guess in some way they made a mistake, and they offered all the seniors there, if they wanted to, they could move to a dedicated high rise, but it was right downtown. And my mom was not like that. She was very accepting, and she's like, no, she's settled in her apartment. She likes it there, so she stayed. Until she went into the hospital, which was her last, residence on this earth. So they're not God, and they make mistakes. And like I said again, God outdoes the cunning and cunning, and God understands. God sees what's going on. And for them to be successful in their plans, they're going to need, a small amount of resistance is going to be enough to stop it. If people keep using cash, it's going to be enough to stop it. And there's all sorts of problems, and many people point out, what about the homeless, and how do you, no. It's kind of like the electric vehicle thing, which, is kind of funny because not enough people are buying these electric vehicles, and the grid cannot produce enough electricity to cover them all. So some Ford dealerships are saying, no, we're not going to take any inventory of the electric vehicles because we can't sell them in our area. So it's all kind of backfiring. You see how these things are backfiring. I mean, you think the powers that be saw the truckers convoy coming, no, and all the embarrassment that caused them, no. And you think the Canadian government, when they're doing this kind of censorship, and well, if Facebook or Meta or whatever it's called is going to be even linking a news article from Canada, then they have to pay kind of a royalty to like the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation or something like this. It was going to cost them millions of dollars. And again, these eggheads, they don't understand how things actually work. So yeah, rightly so. These social media giants, they said, okay, well, we just won't link any Canadian news then. They didn't see that coming. Everyone has blind spots. And there's one last thing to hopefully ease your anxiety. We can't predict the future, right? And the best thing, have some fun. Have some fun in resisting it all. And as best you can, kind of like Hogan's Heroes Times, that TV show from old. And like okay, there may be divine intervention, sure, but let's, I- we pray, we turn things over to God. That is, we don't worry about things. We don't carry these burdens on our shoulders. But we're players in this. We're alive. We're chosen to be alive at this time. So have some fun with it. And yeah, I'm trying to think of a recent example. When I'm out and about in the big city or whatever, but and seeing someone wearing the outward sign of commission of submission. I call it that because the definition of a sacrament, right, is an outward sign of an invisible grace being conferred. And all that's not the exact definition, but that's basically it. And well, that it's because it's a new religion, it's a new worldview, right? And by the grace of God, I never submitted. I have an appointment that came in the mail. It was for my eyes, and anyway, on it says, oh, I guess it's upstairs, so I can't read it right now, but it says uh, by mandate of the local health department, we're all wearing masks, and then for the appointment with the doctor, it says you're required to wear a mask. Well, I'm thinking, okay, I have to confirm this appointment. The appointment is in a couple weeks, and I'm thinking, I think I'm going to call them and because they get paid, right? They get paid for. I mean, I'm sure they're quite busy, but they don't need me per se. But I think I might call them and just ask them um, to postpone it until the uh, the health department decides to lift that mandate, because I've never worn a mask and I can't wear a mask, and just see what they say. And maybe rather than calling up and saying, "Do you make an accommodation for individuals patients who don't wear masks?" And because the last place I went, there was no problem. They had all that signs, masks must be worn, stuff like that. And I went and I just said no, and they said no problem. But I want to see what they say. I want to see what they say. Um, and many of you have contacted me with your own experiences in hospitals and stuff like that, and you're not, even though they've reintroduced mask policies, you're not wearing them, and good things. And one friend I hadn't heard from in a while. I didn't know his wife was pregnant, and so he had emailed me or texted me asking for prayers because they were, in this hospital environment, and everything went well, and congratulations to your new baby girl. And so we'll have some fun with it. But can we have at least faith in this? It's kind of a kind of weird way of looking at it, but can we at least have faith in the incompetency of government? Right? Can they do anything right? No. And like in Canada, the number of people who did not, get this, I think it was 6 million, and that's the first one, and then much more didn't get the second, and then now it's like almost impossible for them to get them. I mean, Theresa Tam is a joke. I mean, getting on with the outward sign of submission on TV, telling people everyone should be wearing them and all this type of thing. No, very very few people are listening to that. You know, only the truly brainwashed, are listening to that nonsense. Um, but they needed like 99%. They cannot build enough quarantine camps for 6 million people. And how are they going to round us? Canada's a big country. I understand Russia, China, North Korea. These are also big. I'm talking about countries who became communist. But one of the things that so it is possible, but it is a little bit different here. We have been accustomed to our freedoms and to our affluence. And I think it's just going to be a matter of time before more and more Canadians wake up. And when they do, they look what's happening in Europe with all the farmers and everything, right? No, 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 no. They're not going to succeed. They can't control everyone. I think these people in their ivory towers are a little bit delusional, and they're not gonna win this. They're not gonna win this. And so try not to live in anxiety. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so we can't. There's things beyond our control. and one of them is the future. One of them is the past, and one of them is the future, right? So I hope that helps you in some way. I visited an old friend a few weeks ago, a childhood friend. He was probably one of my best friends for certain years, early child, as a later childhood and teenage mid up to mid teenage years. Probably my closest friend, and he's a guy I respect a lot. I kind of joke that I had to stop hanging out with him when we were teenagers because I would never get a girlfriend otherwise, because he was a good looking guy and all the girls seemed to be mesmerized by him or something. I don't know if he knew that or not, but it's like, oh, great. Like, how am I can't compete with this guy or whatever. But things are complicated when you're young, I guess. But anyway, I went to go visit him. He's in a position of responsibility. He works in the private sector. A really smart guy. I think he's a very hard worker. Very just I think he's very likable. I think anyone who doesn't like him is probably just jealous. And I'm talking to him, and he's relating certain things to me that because he has a lot of employees under him, and a lot of management and employees under him. And he's relating various things to me. And one of the things he said was regarding the gender nonsense. And so he said he'll call someone it if they want, but otherwise he's gonna call a spade, right? So is that politically incorrect to say that? I don't know, maybe it is, but anyway, I related to him. Oh yeah, well that's like Jordan Peterson. I said, you know who Jordan like? I don't know. I don't know if he said something or is the expression on his face or something. You know who Jordan Peterson is? He said no. And Matt, like I mean, I'm sure like 100% of you, or 99.9% of you know who Jordan Peterson is. I mean, you're online, you search out alternative media, this type of thing. This guy had never known it, and it reminds me of another friend who's an accountant. He's an accountant with the government, and I asked him like last summer. I said, "What do you think of CBDC? What do you think of that? You think it's going to happen? And stuff like that?" He's like, "What is that? What is CBDC? Never heard of it." Most people are oblivious. Remember, I did that live stream once. I said it's right and proper that the children are oblivious. The children don't need to know about the problems, financial problems of the parents, or relationship problems or something. Let the kids be kids. Well, most people, they are completely oblivious. I think that most people have just been busy with their lives, and they don't. Most people are just good, decent people, and they're not really. Most people probably aren't even interested in current events, and if they get any, it's by putting it on the news. But they probably don't listen to it much. So what if he's just watching the news and just kind of casually? Is he going to hear about Jordan Peterson? No, probably not, because like the mainstream media probably only bring up Jordan Peterson in a small little segment, disparaging him or something like this, and so people really are oblivious. So as the social engineers push more and more forward their agenda, or try to, people are going to be waking up. What the poker's getting too close to them, and what's this? Where did this come from? And so you and we can see it coming, but they're going to fail. They're going to fail. Please God, they're going to fail. And if they don't, good will come out of it. All things work out for good for those who love God. And maybe it will help us. Maybe it will help you and me become more pure, like mind, spirit, body, the whole, more holy, right? More better Christians, better Catholics. Maybe it will help us, and maybe it will help others who. Because affluence is a good thing. It's good. Poverty is an evil, right? Poverty in itself is an evil. It's not a virtue. People are stuck in it. But we've lived in a time where, and well, I mean, if you're watching the internet, I think even the poorest of us are have had it good. We've had it good. compared to most people in the world. We have electricity, we have running water, we have clean, um, we have all types of food and stuff like that. I mean, some of these things may become more sparse, but because of our affluence, maybe we've forgotten about God. Maybe we've forgotten about some of the more fundamental things, and as a society as a whole. So if those things, if things turn worse and worse and worse, then maybe the good of it will be, a spiritual awakening, and maybe, it's not necessarily that when the poop hits the fan, um, uh, it's going to be Mad Max territory, or whatever you want to call it. It's not going to be, not necessarily looting and stuff like that. Maybe in some places, but look at I remember that there was a great ice storm in northeastern United States and eastern Canada in 1998. For weeks on end, and the power was out for weeks on end and stuff like that. And I don't recall reports of widespread looting or violence against one another, stealing of things. I think there might have been maybe some stealing of generators or something like that. There's a shortage of generators. But look how in most neighborhoods people came together and helped one another. So there's every reason to believe that will happen as well if things get worse. So these are kind of some words of maybe looking at the positive side of things, and to not be unduly anxious about the future. Live one day at a time, and do our best to love the people that are in front of us. And I did want to, I want to talk about immigration. Actually, that's one of the I want to talk about, like, in all around the world, migration, right? Illegal aliens, illegal migration, unvetted people coming in, and then housing shortages, housing crisis, lack of housing and whatnot. And yeah, okay. Am I going to spend some more time here? Let me just see. I know someone phoned me and said, Father, can you do some shorter videos? Like, I can't watch those long ones. Okay. Okay, perfect. Carol, I'm just glancing at the live chat, and I haven't. I'm going to look through that later before we get off, please God. But I see Carol left a great thing. Military age men, right? That's right. Military age men. MAM. Right. Exactly. Okay. I want to do a Hogan's Heroes thing here. I want to express an idea that we can throw a wrench into all this stuff. So, look, there's a political solutions and stuff. Many of us are following what's going on in some of the states, California, Arizona, and Texas in particular, right now in these days, in a recent Supreme Court ruling regarding jurisdiction of state versus federal protection of borders and whatnot. And I believe the governor of Florida is throwing his support behind the governor of Texas, and even sending maybe some state guard over there. But anyway, whatever the case, we're watching all these things, and so there's political solutions. Yes, there's an election in the United States and coming up, and I don't want to fall in the temptation of cynicism, but I really do understand that we're all being played, and that there's powers behind the scenes pulling the strings, and even to the extent perhaps of Donald Trump, or but I don't want to fall into that much cynicism here in Canada. The present prime minister is very low in the polls. He can't go anywhere without anyone heckling him, and there'll be elections soon enough with that. And although I personally do not have a lot of faith that the agenda is going to change if the Conservative Party of Canada gets in under Pierre Poilievre, I mean, just to be political, just to be a little bit controversial, I'm getting emails from the People's Party of Canada, Maxime Bernier. He's saying all the things I'm like, I agree. So I tend to vote by principle, and have the message that if a Conservative candidate doesn't get elected, in my riding because someone I voted for got a percentage that would have been the margin of error, well, that should be a lesson to them to stop being so progressive and start being real conservatives or whatever. Anyway, I know even that conservative liberal labels are not they're also going out of use because definition terms are changing and whatever. But so anyway, there's the political level, but this is so yes, I want to encourage people to go to their municipal elections, their school board, municipal council meetings, their school board meetings, be involved in the political. I mean, as far as the political scene goes, we need good people who are not control freaks to run for elected office and start getting rid of some of these ridiculous laws that have been put on the books. But so that's the political jostling and stuff like that. But here's the reality: God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Okay, so let's get beyond superficials. Okay, so sure. In the Canada that I grew up, I was born in 1962. In Ottawa, it's mostly French Irish. That's the biggest mix. But there's definitely other ethnicities, and the demographics on that very superficial level, like appearances, like the color of one's skin or something, that is changing. That will change. And that's not what I'm talking about, but it is a different Canada now than what I grew up in. It's not as good, and it's not, if they're successful, and the way that the trajectory is going politically, it's been going downhill. The breakdown of the family. And talking about housing crisis. Imagine if all of these divorced couples were reconciled and lived under the same household. Well, that would free up a lot of housing, right? But you can't legislate morality, but used to be that the laws of Canada would encourage stability in marriages and discourage divorce and this type of thing. But anyway, look, here's the reality. When I'm out and about and I see someone and I hear they don't have a Canadian, they have an accent from somewhere else. Now, some people have been in Canada for 30 years and they still have they have an accent from their childhood or whatever. Fine. But I'm meeting these 20-somethings and stuff like that who are doing the service industry, right? They're at the gas station. They're the clerk at the retail store. They're the person at the fast food joint or whatever, right? So I engage in conversation with them, and I say, how long have you been in Canada? And I'm hearing some, 2 months, 4 months, 2 years, 3 years, things like this. Now, they're fellow human beings, and Jesus himself commanded us to love everyone, even our enemies. And these are not our enemies per se, but I'm going to get to the military age men thing. And here I will say that the Catholic Church on earth, right, in Canada, we have failed over the past several decades, because, yes, the last few years, the number of foreign nationals coming into our country has been, been huge compared to years past. But we've always brought immigrants in. I mean, obviously, my my lineage is from France and Ireland, or maybe Scotland, but from European, and there's all sorts of ethnicities within Canada, ancestral and ethnicities, um, but we as Catholics, we didn't have to go travel the world to preach the gospel to Muslims, for example, because they've been coming to us. And we here in Canada, we do hear rumblings. It's a temptation to kind of say they're not assimilating, they're not becoming Canadian, they're not becoming North American. And I'm like, look, whose fault is that? I mean, maybe we could say it's mutual fault or something like that. I was talking to this young Muslim man a few years ago in a parking lot, Walmart parking lot. It was a beautiful white tow truck. I don't know. This is a brand new tow truck, white, and wow. And I'm feeding my dog or something, and it's in the evening. And this young guy comes up, and I says, "Is that your truck?" Says, yeah. I said, "Well, it's a nice truck. Wow, that's great." And we get into this conversation. Well, we ended up talking for a couple hours, and there's a few things I could talk to about that. But what I want to get to is that eventually he confided something more personal to me, and that is that he has a wife and a daughter, I believe a 2-year-old daughter at the time, or a 2-month-old daughter. No, it would have been probably 2 years old. And because when she was about 2 months old, his wife and him and their daughter went to the Middle East to, for a vacation and to show the extended family, the daughter, their new daughter and stuff. I'll meet her cousins or whatever, and uncles and aunts and all that type of thing, grandparents on her side. It was an arranged marriage, and I'm not against arranged marriages, not at all. But she came to Canada, and for a couple of years, she was in Canada, and she never learned English or French. She only knew Arabic, and this is a policy problem in Canada, where we encourage multiculturalism and encourage this. We should just stop with the social engineering and let things happen naturally, I think. But maybe we're all sensitive about that because of Quebec and French culture in decline because of American television or something. I don't know. But the thing is, she never learned English, so they went over to Kuwait or something, and it's time for them to come back, and he was waiting for his wife and daughter, and some of the relatives came up and said, she's not here, she's not going back to Canada. Now, he came to Canada when he was like 10 years old. He said, I'm Canadian, and I'm not going to go live in the Middle East. He's Muslim. He did say to me, as a Muslim I could have 4 wives. Yeah. That was another little conversation I had with him about the problem with polygamy, because you never stop looking. But heartbreaking. So I used to encourage my parishioners to, if you're in a lineup in a store and you see a Muslim man or woman, like see someone not from Canada, can you please say hello to them? Can you say, hi, nice day, or it's cold out or something like that? Whatever. One of the things I learned was some of the people that are coming into Canada, they're one of the cultural differences is when they move. They may move when someone new moves into the neighborhood. It's totally different than in Canada. See, in Canada, we have this kind of unspoken practice, that unspoken rule, that we show respect for others by minding our own business. And even out here in the country, I'm when I'm walking out and I see a neighbor, I say hello and how are you, and or whatever. Their dog is barking at my dog. Can I let my dog go? And he's very friendly with other dogs. And I meet them and I get to know their names and stuff like that. Well, not too long ago, I was, struck up a conversation with some neighbors, I don't know, a kilometer or so away. And I said, well, how are these neighbors? I named them by name. They've been there for a couple of years. And this woman who's a little bit younger than I am, she said, oh, that's their names. That's their name. They're really next door neighbors. They can see each other. And they and out here in the country, they still, like in the city, we've known this for a long time. You don't know your neighbors or something. But when I was growing up, maybe it's because of the kids, we all knew the neighbors. And even the people that didn't have kids, we know who their names were. And we knew whether they, got mad at us if we walked on their lawn or something. But we need to, some of these people come from cultures where if someone new moves into the neighborhood, people go over and they bring them food and they feed them for a week and they invite them into their homes. But we we'll let them settle in. We'll let them settle in. I don't know for how long, 5 years or something? Like it shouldn't even be a week. It should be, oh, new people, just go over. The moving truck is there. Go over. Say, hi, welcome to the neighborhood. I am. Who are you? What can we do for you? Let me bring you some, it's totally different because they feel rejected by us. Now, in the history of the world, when there's been migration, okay, this often has resulted in peace overall because of intermarriage and stuff like this, okay? So this little wrench I'd like to throw in the social engineers' plans. Let's love all these people that are here and anyone who will be coming in. On the political level, let's stop this. It's too much, too quick, right? But for those who are here, let us befriend them, right? So I'm asking people now. It's different for me, I'm not gonna, for a young person. I'm an old man for these young people. I'm not, you know what I mean? But and I live out in the country and stuff like that. But if you live in the city, or maybe your new people come in and there's someone your age. Like if anyone moved in here is my age, I'd be definitely closer to my age, or I'd be definitely going over and saying hello, whether they're Muslim family or whatever, right? If they're my next door neighbor or something, absolutely, and practice what I'm preaching, but and just show by example. Maybe you have younger adult children or something like that, and show them by example and encourage them. But imagine if these new Canadians come in, and what I'm asking some of them is saying, so you've been here for a couple of years, okay? Have you made any Canadian-born friends yet? And one guy said yes. And I was so happy to hear about that. He's working at Home Depot. And Home Depot, because there's lots of employees, and of course there's a lot of younger people there, and they'll have socials. And then so he's made some friends in his workplace, and they have parties and stuff like that. Like I remember when I was young and stuff like that. That was what I was younger. That was what they do. So he has made some Canadian friends. And locally up here, there's a restaurant half an hour away, and they've got new people and military age men working at this restaurant. And I go up there back when there was the baseball playoffs on. I thought maybe they would be showing the baseball game, and I don't have a TV here, and the Blue Jays were in the wild card series. And I go up there, and it turned out they were closed. But some of these new guys, they actually live there. It's kind of it's also a hotel type, a motel restaurant, and some of them were living there. And there was a local guy there, and he pulled up with one of the guys just while I was there in the parking lot. I always have these conversations in parking lots. I don't know why. And he's taking them out. He's taking them out to a local town, to a bar where there's a band playing. Beautiful, beautiful. Befriend these people. So let's say it really is a Trojan horse thing, okay? Let's say a certain percentage really are Trojan horse. What type of cells did they call it? When I thought that Canada was going to totally change through voting and Sharia law, or something, vote in Sharia law someday, like maybe 50 years from now or something like that. And I didn't see all this other stuff coming the last couple of years, but sleeper cells, right? Okay, maybe they are, but you know what? For military, right? To go out and kill the enemy, like go out on the battlefield, wherever. They dehumanize. They don't know the enemy. They don't know them. And we've seen some of this language last couple of years. But if they get to know you, believe that, right? If they get to know you, no, now you're human. Now you're their neighbor. Now you're their friend. You're their friend. And this will upset the apple cart of the social engineers, okay, who want to depopulate. No, we're gonna be friendly. Look, it's like the truckers' convoy. Everyone was down there. Everyone was loving. And it's like Canada Day, July 1st, 2020. The government canceled Canada Day celebrations. I'm like, no way. I go down there. There's like 3,000 was down there, and it was so beautiful to see the French, the English, and the Indians all together. Right? And it's like, no, they're not going to win. They're not going to win. And I met this one guy, Jason. Many of you know him because he's one of the founders of the Druthers newspaper, and good guy. And he was wearing a T-shirt that said, "I love you, pass it on. I love you, pass it on." And I had a little. There's a video of it on it that I posted, and I asked him a question, and he was with a friend there who had a poster that I asked about as well. But I asked him about his T-shirt. He said, "We're all human. Let's just love one another." Beautiful. Do it. That's it. That's it. Love everyone where they're at, whatever. Influence them. Whatever you're doing. Hey, some friends and I were getting together. You want to join us? I asked them, Jeff, have you made any Canadian friends? No, I've made Canadian friends. Well, look, some friends and I, we're gonna go out to a bite to eat. You want to come? It's my treat, right? And invite them into your life. And yeah, at some point it will be, well, I'm going to mass. I'm going to church. You want to come? Sure. They're like a soft sell. You don't have to like. But the primary thing is just to love them. But yeah, military age men. This is my message, and according to YouTube analytics, all I have is senior citizens watching my videos. I don't have any young people watching my videos, apparently, or it's statistically insignificant. But maybe YouTube's not correct in that. But I want to say this to the Canadian guys, Canadian-born guys, the nice guys, the good guys, because quite frankly, for decades now, you've not been very confident in pursuing a wife. And why are we in this mess? And here's where the church failed, not only in failing to evangelize. The world is coming to us. We don't have to go to the world. Not only have we failed in that area, but we've also failed in the life issues. We've also, because of birth control. That's why we actually need, we have a demographic cliff in Canada, and we actually need all these young people. We need these childbearing age people. And there are women coming over as well. I'm meeting many of them as well. Many of them coming over to Canada as students or whatever, from India and whatever. And so young 20-something, or university age or college age women. And so my message to the Canadian guys, some of these marriage age men coming into Canada and the United States, for that matter, or wherever you are in the Western world, Europe, right? Ireland, okay? Some of these guys are coming from countries where the number of guys way outnumber the number of women, okay? And I'm seeing a lot of Asian Chinese, looks like Chinese, coming. I see them at Costco. Well, most things sold in Costco are made in China, so they probably see a lot of familiar things. But but I'm encountering some people who they're speaking Chinese. I saw that actually at a lake around here last summer. I was really kind of shocked. Um, but anyway, young family. But here's the thing, guys. A lot of these men coming over who are marriageable age men, they're going to take the girls you have a crush on, you're too shy to ask out. So like pull up your bootstraps or whatever you have to do. These guys are not going to, these guys are going to be bold. They're going to come over and sing, some of the girls that you like, right? We call them girls. I'm talking about, marriage age women. Okay. The one you have a crush on, you're kind of shy, you're kind of like trying to figure out how to ask her out and stuff like that. These guys are going to go up to someone like that, the very one you have a crush on, the very one you have your heart set on. And I realize men in our culture, they don't want to get married. There's a lot of reasons why not to get married, why men go their own way, right? Like I say, like the easy divorce laws and all that, and division of property and all that stuff. The court system, being unjust to fathers and stuff like that. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. They're gonna meet. A pretty Canadian woman, and they're gonna be like, wow. Some of them they never seen. You go to Montreal or something. I mean, you see, wow, I've never seen such beautiful women, and they're gonna go up to them. They're gonna say, wow, you're so pretty. Your boyfriend's really lucky, and they're gonna like, I don't have a boyfriend, and he'd be like, great. Let's go out. Let's go get a coffee. Let's go to whatever they're gonna do. But they're not gonna be shy. They're over here. They're lonely. They're lonely. They've left their home country, right? And yeah. So guys, I don't know how this comes across on a video for priest saying this, but if you're a Canadian or American, and it's on your heart to get married and have a nice big family, you better act. Or you're gonna lose them. You're gonna lose your chance. So anyway, but I hope all this is a positive thing. The saying, look, they're not gonna succeed, and we're gonna love everyone who's here, and we're gonna befriend them, and even if if it is a Trojan horse situation, an invasion of sorts, no, it's not going to work. And you don't have to sit down, have a classroom and say, this is what Canadian values are not Justin Trudeau values, okay? That's not like real Canadian values, mutual respect and real tolerance and kindness and politeness and generosity and all these Canadian values. We're true Canadian. You don't have to teach them any of that. You can help them a little bit. Like I was, again at a parking lot, and it was at McDonald's parking lot late at night one night, and it was a big snowstorm, and this guy, he had snow covered all his windows except his windshield, a little bit of the windshield, whatever the wiper could keep clean. He had this much snow on top of the. And I remember I was talking to someone on the phone. I said, I'm going to get out and I'm going to clear that guy's car. I'm going to do my good deed for the day. And I'm going out and I'm clearing his car. I said, no, it's not safe. You got to see out your windows, and you're going to get a ticket from the police, And remember, when we drive in the wintertime, all these people who've come from other countries, and they've never driven in a Canadian winter before. So drive defensively, be careful out there, But we can help them. When I meet someone and they say, "Oh, is this your first winter in Canada?" and I explain to them the good things, like a down-filled jacket if you want warmth, and a breathable, waterproof outer layer, and long johns, and wool socks, and don't wear cotton socks, and just some things to help them. And why not befriend someone who's never experienced winter before and bring them snowshoeing or something? Bring them out to come and visit me if you're in the area. That might be a fun thing. But let's befriend these people. And there you go. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. There's other things I want to talk about. Like I say, maybe I'll do some videos. Here's I want to show people some books and stuff that I've recently acquired. And here's one that many of you may know about. I'll just hold it up. I don't even want to mention the name of it. But truth and reconciliation has to include truth, right? And the truth will prevail. Okay, I'm going to check the live chat, and thank you very much for those who've watched. Very, very impressed with the number of viewers who've checked in, and it's always fun looking at the live chat. I'll see if there's any trolls in here. We did have a troll recently, but I think he's gone. I haven't banned him or anything. B Goche, yeah, B Goche, you've left some really good comments. Everyone has. Excuse me. Kudos to Kat and AG. I know who you are, Christine. But B Goche, I've really enjoyed some of your comments you've left on some of the other videos, and some of your engagement with others. So AJ says, trust Christ in the place he is building for us. I'm presuming heaven. This world is doomed and in the process of rebirth. We've been told quite clearly who's the prince of this world. Right. Yeah. Well, and the thing is, he made this earth for us, and it's beautiful. And look for the good that's in this world. And like the new springtime of the church, right? I was in the seminary in 2000, 2005. I needed to look forward and say, this is a new time. This is a time of rebirth, like of like the spring, like the plants coming to life, right? The flowers and the food and everything. This is the time we're in. It's always darkest just before dawn, that type of thing. But I've recently reevaluated that. I said, yeah, we are the springtime, but it's the time when the seeds are going in the ground and dying. But no, we have to be positive for the future, but while keeping our eyes fixed on reality. And it's definitely a spiritual battle. Definitely a spiritual battle. First things first. So AJ, for the comments about maybe some of the things we do, I think it was at the time I was talking about quietism and like just trusting God, not doing anything, not resisting. The thing is, yeah, you try to be prudent and anticipating, what a reaction would be, but ultimately, you do what you think is right and good, and let the chips fall. That's speaking for myself, too much of my life has been caught up in people pleasing and feeling responsible for other people's reactions. And sometimes we just have to let's see things go. Helen is giving a comment. So a little bit of back and forth in the chat, which is great. Francisca. Oh, God bless. God bless. You always leave a comment, ask for blessing. And yeah, no, I haven't been canceled. So my apologies again at the beginning of the video. I said the live stream. My apologies. I don't want people to be, wondering if I'm okay. Rich. I think Rich, you sent me an email with a link. I think if it's the same, Rich, regarding the Supreme Court in Canada ruling that the Emergencies Act called by the Trudeau government, the Liberal government, was unconstitutional. And yeah, that's great. Of course, the government's appealing it. They'll drag it on for years till after the next election. So, but yeah, that was a great morale booster. A genuine booster for us up here. New York City is a mess. Yeah, there's a YouTuber that sometimes I check in on. His name is Jason Goodman. He's got live streams called Crowdsource the Truth. I think on YouTube he's had up to 10 channels deleted. He's not monetized or anything like that. But what he does is he brings on guests and he walks through New York City as well. Does kind of a little bit of a discussion about political things or societal things. He's got a bit of a short temper. I tried to educate him on this issue when he was doing a report on it, and he had a guest who since recently died. God rest his soul. But I was trying to explain that this was a psyop, and he saw me, and he called me out saying I was a troll and everything like that, and I subscribed to him on Subscribestar and everything, and tried to bring the truth. I thought it was crowdsource the truth. I thought you were pursuing the truth, but and when he's walking, he does get some angry reaction, especially if someone's on a bicycle or a skateboard or something. But nonetheless, Carol, this is a little bit of my knowledge of New York City and how it's going as he's walking around the city, especially during the lockdowns. But he's doing it now and talking about something I think we're all becoming more aware of, and that's lawfare. Using suing people or using the law, and the government here. Randy Hillier has out here. He's he's really pointing that out, how the government is trying to wear him down and bankrupt him through these charges in the court through the courts. So it's working the system. It's a different type of war. Tucker Carlson, yeah, he's received warmly. There's a lot more common sense people in Canada than people might think. Yeah, there's the elites and in the cities and stuff, but even many government workers, they are awake. Definitely, we got to pray and try to befriend the police in some way, because in terms of the plans, it can only be carried out with a willing police and military to enforce, so hopefully, and that's where we have to educate them. I have to educate. It's the same thing in our Catholic faith. You have to. It's a moral obligation to disobey immoral laws. It's not just you don't have to obey immoral laws. No, you must disobey immoral orders. So, sleeper cells. Thanks, HA. I think I came to it before. Ah, okay. Good. A priest friend of mine is joining in the chat there. It's awesome. Pray also, Father. Easy does it on the phones. They're highly addictive. That's right. Oh, yep. Yeah, Yahweh is in California, and she says I'm up late. Yeah, I am. So there you go. And I've been on for almost an hour 45. So, Stephanie. Okay. So yeah, we need our police. They have families too, and this is, I think, one of the reasons they got so much um, compliance with their with the government orders, health orders, the global elites, their plan, their declaration of war against humanity. That's really what it's about, and they want us to be against each other. And divisions in the church are like that, and divisions in our countries are like that. They want us to hate each other. Let's not fall into that temptation. Let's love everyone. Let's not do that. But the problem is, everyone, including police, they have a job, and their boss tells them to do something, and they want to. When the idea comes, no, I don't want to do that, or I shouldn't do that. Immediately, what comes in is, but I need my job. So most people just have been doing it, and it's been a top-down thing. And but like I say, eventually people will wake up when it gets too obvious, and they can't be oblivious anymore, and they're not going to win. They're not going to win. We're not going to let them win. Joe from Australia. So, okay, so I'm very appreciative to everyone who watches. It's an outlet for me. I enjoy the comments that you leave. I'm makes yeah, it encourages me, and I appreciate also those who donate to the retreat center. I call it the retreat center. I don't know exactly how to word all of this, but as far as I'm concerned, this is just like my, sounds bad, my retreat center, my hermitage. It's my home. But if you want to visit me, you can visit me. But I'm not going to advertise. I'm not going to put a sign out saying retreat center, public welcome. It's not open. That's what's changed for me in the last few years. When I first came here, I envisioned, advertising this place in church bulletins and whatnot, getting the place known, so I would have enough retreatants to come here and provide that ministry. But now I don't want it open to the public. I don't like it. So in that sense, I don't have the same evangelical outreach that I had envisioned. But I just want to rely on the Holy Spirit. To anyone who would like to come here, you give me a call. You send me an email, franthonyhannon@protonmail.com. Leave me your full name and phone number so I know you're a real person. It helps if we know someone in common or something like that. There's an Orthodox hermitage about an hour away from here, and they do allow lay retreatants, and but the requirement for a retreat to go is they need a letter, they need a reference from their confessor, the priest that they go to confession to. That's what they require. I'm not requiring things like that, but some people come and just visit for a couple hours. They want to meet me, or they want to talk, they want to get some fresh air. I'll give a little tour, a short walking tour, not a long tour, but if you want to spend a bit of time alone in nature, that type of thing. In other words, you can visit me as though you're visiting a friend or a relative. And if you want to stay here for a few days, or I have accommodations that are completely separate from my living quarters. I don't eat with others generally. I need to look after my own health, and I really, the idea of this place is to allow individuals to come and get quiet, get a rest from the noise and the nonsense of the world, get quiet, pray, listen, to have that encounter with God in silence. And I do hope that, I do expect that for some individuals, when they come here, that the Lord will speak to them, so to speak. I mean, he can reveal himself to anyone however he wants, but in the silence, an inspiration. Maybe for some individuals, they're selling themselves short. They're in a job that really isn't, making full use of the gifts that they have, or the glory that they could be giving God. Maybe some individuals, some good citizens, maybe out of gratitude, they might to the life that they've lived so far, might even say, it's time for me to go back. I think I should run for office. I'm going to run for town councillor or city councillor or whatever, or school board, or whatever level of government, because we need good people who are not control freaks to get into these places. But it could be a lot of things. Maybe some, and that's the idea, that the solutions are out there, but maybe people are too caught up in their own day-to-day lives, and this is a place of rest for them. So that's the idea there, and yeah, I'm not going to be putting a sign out in case someone drives by and says, I wonder what that's about, and maybe I'll go on a retreat. I never heard of that. I'm just letting it be word of mouth and the Holy Spirit, because so if you want to come here for a couple days and stay in the prayer cabin or in the guest suite, we can see each other at Mass, or if you want to talk to me, I'm here for you. But it's set up so that I can live kind of like a hermit, and that you can get quiet and rest. And so that's the idea. That's what this is all about. While I was talking, I see all sorts of people leaving some chats, so I'll just check out what's that. And but I again, I'll make this appeal, if it is on your heart, to support what I'm doing. Please look in the description of this or other videos. You can see how you get in touch with me. You can leave a donation through email or mail checks. And I've had now 2 individuals who one couple, one married couple and one individual, who've sent me US dollar checks, and if it's made to my name and not In Viam Pacis, which is the name of the retreat associate, the In Viam Pacis Association, then the bank doesn't hold it or anything. So even if you're American, you want to do that, reach out to me and we can talk and let you know how that gets done. But e-transfer and all that type of thing is possible, and you help pay the bills, and who knows what this place will be if the finances are there. But right now it's not even about building the place up, because it's really month to month living expenses. So I'm not big organization. So I left a comment on a YouTube channel of a big Catholic organization recently, and they it was a good comment, I think. I complimented them on their work and stuff, and put my 2 cents worth in, and they responded. They gave me a heart. They love my comment, and they're not giving that on every comment. And then they asked for a donation, and I'm like, this is an organization that takes in millions of dollars, literally millions of dollars, more than $1 million, millions of dollars, and they have large staff, the growing staff. It's like whatever, and they have tens of thousands of viewers on various platforms, and so I just responded. I said I would love to donate you, but the problem is I have to borrow money and pay interest to the bank to give you money. But would you be interested in donating to me and to my retreat center here? And I don't know if they're probably too big that no one even reads that response. But if anyone did read the response, so far they haven't given a donation. So it's kind of, so yeah, like obviously, please, if it's not obvious, don't borrow money to give to me. That's but if you're if you're looking for somewhere to give that you'll be rewarded in heaven, no tax credit benefit or anything like that. But yeah, consider whatever. I just noticed someone today who I didn't see in the chat or anything, but who I think for the last couple years now has been giving monthly donation by e-transfer, and he gave. I noticed he gave $30 today, and I'm like that makes a huge difference to me. Huge difference. So anyway, I want to. Bring a camper van. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can camp here. I have a lot of acres, but if you come camping here, I want you to just consult me about having a campfire, because I want to make sure that it's safe. And that's my little bit of control freak stuff for my part, but I really don't want a forest fire here. And but yeah, if someone wants to come camping here, that's ideal. Some says, oh, how many people can come here at a time? Well, I mean, if you want to do your business in the woods, like a lot can come. But if you want to shower every day, I am on a septic system, and it's a 3-bedroom house. The septic system is made for a 3-bedroom house, so it's like, I can't have that many people here flushing the toilet or taking showers. and but anyway, my idea of this place is not to make an empire, not to make it like some huge place. If that happens, it would be kind of like I'll have to find somewhere else to go or something. But fine, it's really ultimately it's God's property. I'm a steward of it, right? But yeah, like just small stuff. Okay, there you go. I've got some people coming tomorrow, and I've got some cleaning up to do here. I have to make room. There's actually 2 rooms in the house where that's totally separate from my living quarters, where someone can come and stay overnight. I have what used to be the master bedroom, which is a completely separate entrance and everything, and their own washroom and everything. And then I've got another room, which right now is full of my tools and stuff like that. So one person's going to have to stay tomorrow night in a crowded room, but there'll be a place to lay a sleeping bag on a mattress anyway. But so I got some cleaning up to do, so I shouldn't be up too late. It's already past what I ought to be. But thanks for joining, everybody. Hope it's helpful to whoever watches this video. And for those who have joined and those who will watch it later, the Lord be with you. And may Almighty God bless each and every one of you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Go in peace, live in the truth, live free.